about the 26-year-old Franz Schubert, Trockene Blue, his own variation on that song, for flute and piano. Paula Robeson played the flute, the late, great Rudolf Serkin at the piano. They gave that concert in 1968 at the Summer Chamber Music Gathering Serkin and Friends founded in 1951, a concert at Marlborough Music in Marlborough, Vermont. You can hear that again and the rest of today's show on the PT homepage online at performancetoday.org. Coming up in just a moment, Gil Shaham finds a concerto in Hong Kong. Listening to Performance Today from APM.
On the next Gecko's trip into deep space, when the English electronic trio Radio Massacre International comes in and elevates us into the cosmos. I'm John DiLiberto, getting my seatbelt on when Radio Massacre International takes off live on Gecko's a music soundscape from DVR It, Public Radio International.
Tonight at 10.
Public radio station, HBR2, member-supported Hawaii Public Radio. Coming up at 8 o'clock, it's The Conversation with Beth Ann calls with Richard Chris for Endercook, followed by 2 new programs, The Takeaway at 9 o'clock, and Tell Me More at 10. The current time in the islands is 7:12.
Sometimes called the Chinese equivalent of Romeo and Juliet. Liang Shenbao and Zhu Entai are known stories of the family will never consent to their being together.
There's a famous tryst of the 2 lovers meeting in secret, and that's portrayed in the duet, a famous duet with the violin and cello.
together a coalition of new Hispanic voters, African and Asian Americans, progressive white voters, and suburban voters. It's very different. The Texas Democrats of old. Kevin Conley, DVR News.
You're listening to Morning Edition from NPR News.
Support for Morning Edition comes from Castle Medical Center's Joint Care Center, specializing in hip and knee replacement procedures, announcing Mapleplasty robotic knee resurfacing surgery. CastleMed.org.
I listen to Hawaii Public Radio all the time, usually while I'm in my car, driving from one place to another. I love the news programs on public radio. I love listening in the morning and getting a good synopsis of what's going on for the day, and then the commentary that breaks it down. And I feel like it's good, solid news that I can trust.
Member supported Hawaii Public Radio. Radio with vision. Listen and see.
You're listening to HPR1, member supported Hawaii Public Radio at 7:20 on this Tuesday morning. Derek, on the weather forecast for the Hawaiian Islands. There's a wind advisory for the summits of Hawaii Islands. Today, partly to mostly cloudy, windward and Mauka with scattered showers this morning and showers likely in the afternoon. Partly sunny leeward with isolated showers and areas of haze on the leeward side of the Big Island. Highs in the mid to upper 80s and northeast winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy, windward and Mauka with showers. Partly cloudy, leeward with scattered showers. Lows 70 to 75. East winds around 15 miles per hour. This is music from Makana on HBR1. Support for Hawaii Public Radio comes from the Gallagher Law Firm. Local attorneys nationally recognized for helping people with mesothelioma and other serious injury. Online at GallagherLaw.com.
The saga of Edward Snowden feels like a page turner, a story of an international fugitive no one wants. Snowden is the former NSA contractor trying to avoid prosecution in the U.S. for leaking classified documents.
Snowden has been weighing his options as he languishes in a Moscow airport. He's requested asylum in at least 20 countries now. According to the website WikiLeaks, Snowden's legal advisors submitted those requests by hand to diplomatic missions in Moscow.
And Snowden's wish list included Russia, but Russia's president did not extend the warmest invitation. He said Snowden was welcome as long as he didn't release any more information. The Kremlin then announced Snowden no longer had Russia on his list. NPR's Corey Flintoff reports.
Snowden himself still hasn't emerged from the Moscow airport transit area where he spent the past 9 days, but his request stirred up a flurry of comment. The statement, posted on WikiLeaks' website, said that Snowden had asked for asylum from countries ranging from Austria and France to Cuba and Venezuela. Several countries quickly issued statements snubbing his requests. When the news first broke, most Russian officials were only mentioning the initial asylum request to Russia, which focused attention on remarks that President Putin made at a news conference yesterday.
Если он захочет куда-то уехать или кто-то его примет.
The former KGB agent did not sound sympathetic to Snowden's cause. If he wants to stay here, Putin said, there's one condition. He must stop his work aimed at doing damage to our American partners, strange as it may sound coming from my lips. Strange indeed from a leader who's taken an increasingly adversarial stance to the United States in recent years. Putin went on to hold open the door for Snowden to make his exit. Since he feels himself to be a fighter for human rights, Putin said, he apparently doesn't intend to stop such work, and therefore he should choose for himself a country of residence and move there. Snowden himself apparently reiterated his intention to keep publishing in a letter sent to Ecuadorian President Rafael Correa. The Reuters news agency quoted the letter as saying that Snowden remains free and able to publish information that serves the public interest. He complains that the government of the United States is persecuting him with, quote, an extrajudicial manhunt costing me my family live peacefully without fear of illegal aggression, end quote. In Washington, State Department spokesman Patrick Van Trell dismissed any notion that Snowden is being hounded.
Reject the notion that this is some sort of political prosecution. Indeed, it's not. These are serious crimes, and so our position is that he needs to face a free and fair trial and not be fugitive.
Russian analyst Fyodor Lukyanov, the editor-in-chief of Russia in Global Affairs, says figures like Snowden pose a new kind of problem for traditional spy agencies in the U.S. and Russia.
Today, he revealed all the information about the United States, but who knows if he or somebody like him will get access to information for Russia, what will they do?
And while Snowden may have short-term propaganda value for Russia, Lukyanov says, an intelligence professional like President Putin is likely to see him as a long-term liability. Some analysts believe that Russian intelligence services have been working on Snowden in an effort to access the information stored on his computers, or that they may already have it. But that information may eventually become public knowledge anyway.